Well, good afternoon and welcome. Some of you, it will be good morning. I'm Christopher Rind. I'm the Honorary Chair of the Nautical Institute of the South East Australia branch. And today is our 5th webinar in this series. And we are very grateful to have with us Dr. Woo Seong Shim. Dr. Woo Seong Shim. We'll be starting that in just a moment. Very good. For those of you who have just joined us, there are some protocols. You'll be familiar with those if you've been on one of our previous sessions. And I will just share with you my screen, giving you those protocols. This is to preserve our bandwidth. So we're back to our screen share. And we ask that you mute and close your video to preserve our screen width. If you move your mouse over the bottom of the screen, you will see the menu that I have displayed on the slide here. So turn off your video, turn off the microphone, and this, which I'm indicating here with my arrow, is the chat function. If you'd please put your name and email in there, and during the course of the presentation, if you have any questions, please put those in there as well. Dropouts happen, so if you lose, just rejoin again, and when we see you in the waiting room, we will admit you. Now, as with previous, we're just going to ask you a single quiz question, a Menti question at the beginning of this, and then we'll have some other questions at the end. So moving on to that in a moment. Now, as I mentioned, I'm the chair of the Nautical Institute in Southeast Australia. That's our URL there. We're part of the greater organization called the Nautical Institute, which is international, but headquartered in London. And it's that international body, 7,000 members, and it's about professional development, professional excellence in the nautical sphere. And we also have a representative status at IMO and IALA, and sharing international information and best practice. Gillian, can I hand over to you for our first question on the Menti?
Most definitely. Now, I'm going to take on the screen right now, and if you have a device handy or another screen that you will put up, go to a new URL and put in menti.com. I'm just going to put my screen up, and you will see a code to enter in. So can you just confirm that you can see my screen now?
Not yet.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Excellent. So if you could go to menti.com on your device, open up a new window on your computer or on your smartphone, just go to menti.com, put in the code 1990388, and you will have a question that will be facing you. I'd like you to put in a word or 2 words or 3 words about what the challenges are for maritime to go digital in communications. And then at the bottom, make sure you click submit. I'm doing mine right now.
Standardization.
There we go. And don't forget to click submit once you got your words in. So the code is 1990388. Submit. Okay. Oh, community acceptance, that's a good one. And if you come up with a new one, you can submit another one. Oh, look, we're getting some more coming in. Let's see how we're doing. Standardization seems to be the big one. User acceptance. Trust. Trust is a good one. So community acceptance and user acceptance, I think those kind of go together, don't they? That's really great. Standardization is still the big one. So we asked the same question at each of our webinars in our series. This is the 5th in our series. And I have to say that standardization has come up a few times. So how are we going to do standardization? That's excellent. I think we'll leave it there for now. I will stop sharing my screen and pass back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's our great pleasure to have presenting for this 5th webinar in the series from the Republic of Korea, Dr. Woo Seong-shim, who's the principal researcher for the Maritime Safety Research with ICT technology at the Korea Research Institute of Ships and Ocean Engineering. So I hand you over now to Dr. Shim, and welcome.
Okay, hello everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, hello everyone, and maybe good afternoon. Somewhere is good morning and good evening. My name is Woo Seong-shim, and very thank you for your kind introduction to me, Mr. Chairman. And I will make a file presentation sharing. Is it working?
Yes, we see you.
Okay, I will explain about the today LTE-Maritime based on 4G technology as a novel e-navigation communication infrastructure. Actually, yesterday and before 2 days ago, I have a presentation at e-navigation underway Asia Pacific in Korea. So there, I present about the digital maritime communication, especially introduction and showing our immediate result, test result of LTE-Maritime implementation. So I will explain about the need of LTE-Maritime in aspect of the IMO's vision, IMO's strategic implementation plan of e-navigation. And then I will explain about the requirement in view of the service level, service quality or service level of LTE-Maritime. Third, I will show you about the LTE-Maritime, the field management result in the received signal level or any the speed of the communication completed on our Korean water. So I will conclude as an epilogue. Okay. I make this presentation as a first. The definition of e-navigation is a beginning point of the LTE-Maritime. I think that this definition is very famous to the maritime people, and maybe everybody knows this the definition as well. But I just rearrange this sentence like this. So we can see that e-navigation is to collect, integrate, exchange, present, analyze the marine information for where, on board and ashore, how to, by electronic means. I think the many words included in the sentence expose the importance and necessity of the communication. So the requirement, initial requirement of communication, especially digital, novel, new maritime communication, began from the definition of e-navigation, I think. What about in the prioritized solutions? There are 5 solutions. So when we see that as 2 solutions, there are requirements for automated reporting. Mariners have to report their destination and their information of ships to the VTS at regulated points, right? So if we want to implement that reporting process for the automated procedure, I think there are some software on board, there are some system on board, but communication between the ship and the shore administration will be strongly required for the automated reporting, as you guess. So in the priority solution S4, there are the exact word, via communication equipment. So if we integrate and present so many informations in graphical displays, I think we also need the very high rate or high amount of data traffic. And that communication equipment must manage the high volume of data traffic. In the case of VTS service portfolio, I think there are more quite requirements about the communication, because VTS operator have many chances and opportunity to communicate with mariners and even fishermen, or many peoples in VTS areas. So I hear some opinion from the Korean VTS operator. He would like to ask to the expert, not only voice by VHF, he needs very clear voice communication, because they want to communicate, they want to make a discussion with same country's people, even foreigners, with foreigners. So they need very clear voice communication. Okay, and these are the Maritime Services, formerly Maritime Service Portfolio, but as you know, several years ago, we deleted the portfolio. So we just call that the Maritime Services. There are 16 services. So when I see these Maritime Services, I think the communication very essential to implement these Maritime Services. which is listed on the instruments of IMO. However, if we want to make another innovative maritime services, such as if you want to make a drone system between the island and land, what kind of communication channel, what kind of capability of communication network do you require? So I think we can implement more innovative maritime services if with more advanced digital maritime communication infrastructure. I think this is very clear and very general statement, but I think this is very important point that we should remember in when we say about the communication. Yeah, I skipped these slides because it's just saying about this Korean e-navigation project. Okay. Before going ahead, if we have any questions or any comment on the chat, Mr. Rin, a moderator, let me know that. Thank you. Yeah, this slide explains about the vital data requirements of Korean e-navigation services, which should operate by the should be operated by the LTE-Maritime. And Korean e-navigation services require the ship's position. It's a very primary requirement. So LTE-Maritime have to send ship's position at every seconds. Every seconds. Yeah, and then the LTE-Maritime equipment, onboard equipment, have to send essential status of ships and LTE-Maritime's quality. I mean the communication quality. And also communication uplink in the uplink and downlink, LTE-Maritime router onboard equipment must handle the unified messenger, only voice. Let me explain first about the uplink and downlink and about the communication quality. Please see this picture diagram. So there is one land-based station of LTE-Maritime, and there are 3 ships. So if we send data from land to the ship, this link is downlink. The direction is downlink. The vice versa direction is uplink. It's a very common thing in the LTE expert. And if the ship is very close to the land station, I think you can guess very easily. The radio signal is very strong. At that time, we can measure some parameter of RSRP, received signal reference power. So the ship is located very close to the land station. RSRP, received signal, is very high. But far distance, there are the situation of RSRP is low. Okay, very simple thing. So, and then I will continue to explain about the vital services. And in the onlink, from the ship to land, there are vital services about ship's position report and essential status. The size and speed is like this. In the case of downlink, from the land to the ship, there are vital services such as warning of collision and unified messenger voice. Unified messenger is a kind of WhatsApp voice communication. I think you can use the voice communication in the WhatsApp Messenger or Facebook Messenger, right? So in the LTE-Maritime, we have developed some special messenger program in our communication network. And then we can make the vital services data amount, and we translate that to the speed requirement in Mbps unit. So in the case of uplink, we require the 0.6 Mbps for vital services. Okay. In downlink case, we request 3 Mbps for the warning of collision and unified messenger. So this red character is very basic requirement of speed in case of LTE-Maritime. So please note this active rate. Position and essential status report must be sent by every seconds. So active rate should be 100%. That means every ship must send all data, essential data, every seconds. But the voice communication in the unified messenger cannot be operated simultaneously 100%. So we have adopted active rate as 10% only. So in the downlink case, we have adopted active rate 50% in our assumption. Okay, let me explain about the relationship between the LTE-Maritime service requirement and the geographic area. Actually, not geographic. It's a water area. Yeah. Okay, we have defined a 30-kilometer line from the coast. I think you can see that the 30-kilometer area, water area, along the Korean peninsula. So usually I call this area main interest area. I just call that the only main area. And 30 to 100 kilometer from the coast, you can make some area. So I just call that sub-area, sub-interest area. So little strong green is main area. The light green is sub-area. I just call that. But this purple area is a Korean territorial sea. You know that every country are very interested in their country's territorial sea. So in some part, the Korean territorial sea is over the 30-kilometer line because Korea have many islands in the western and southern part of our country. So we have defined the minimum service level for the 30-kilometer line, main area and Korean territorial sea to like this. RSRP minus 95 dBm and success rate over 95%, and downlink 6 mega, uplink and 3 Mbps respectively. It's a minimum requirement of LTE-Maritime. How about in survey area? A little bit less service level required. RSRP over minus 150 dBm, success rate over 90%. Downlink 3 Mbps and uplink is 1 Mbps respectively. Somebody can understand the RSRP and Mbps, but the others not. So I will explain more in detail. This is the South Korea, the area. How to read that? 100,000 square kilometer, right? Yeah, the area of the South Korea is like this. And some private communication company have installed 376,000 LTE station on Korea land. So if we calculate this, 0.27 square kilometer should be covered one LTE land station. This is equal to 37.8 soccer grounds. Okay? So when we think the terrestrial water, not 100 kilometer, I cannot calculate that. Only think the terrestrial water, the area of terrestrial water is like this, 71,000 square kilometer. But we just installed 263 LTE-Maritime station. Then we have to cover 269.96 square kilometer by one LTE-Maritime station. It means 37,809 soccer grounds, almost 1,000 times. So the coverage which the LTE-Maritime have to cover is very huge. So I can tell you about the Mbps. So we have defined as a minimum requirement, service requirement, like this: 6 mega, 3 mega. In the case of survey area, downlink is 3 Mbps, uplink 1 Mbps. I think somebody think, oh, we already get the 100 Mbps in 4G. Maybe in 5 or 6 years, we can get the 1 gigabps or 10 gigabps in 5G condition. So LTE-Maritime is very tedious or very weak communication, somebody say. But I would like to say, LTE-Maritime cover 100 kilometers, not 1 kilometer, not 10 kilometers. 100 kilometers have a very weak signal, right? So I would like to say just 1 or 6 Mbps is very valuable to the maritime field. I show you some requirements of internet applications. Can you guess this about the requirement of which program? Yes, this program is required for only 3 kilobps or only 100 kilobps for recommending for calling. In a case of video calling for HD type, just 1.2 megabps and just 1.5 megabps is required for this application. Can you guess that? Which kind of applications?
Right, yes, I can, got it, yep.
Okay, I'm so fast. Yeah, Skype, WhatsApp, Line, Facebook, Twitter. These programs are very common to you and me. So we have to know that we usually use very small traffic, very small network traffic for our user applications. So this is the same situation on the maritime field. If you want to use the WhatsApp, Skype, the Facebook on board, I think you need just 1 megabps, maybe 2 or 3 megabps only. So the minimum requirement of LTE is not usually cited. I want to say that. Okay, this is just a sketch. I'm sorry the picture is a little bit not clear, but I cannot show you exact the position, exact location of the station and the exact line of sight, because the Korean government do not want to reveal the secret. So I just overview sketch. I just show you an overview sketch. So this is a line of sight expectations of LTE-Maritime stations, 263 stations. So in this slide, we can guess that, oh, the line of sight of LTE-Maritime station can cover the 100 kilometer line, okay? Like this. Okay, we can see that. So if I want to use the LTE-Maritime, we have to install onboard equipment. So in our system, these are the onboard equipment system. It's not a shape of smartphone because we have to serve 100 kilometer. So we have to install the high gain antenna. So we can install this LTE-M router like this, and then install high gain antenna like this. So we have installed 2 antennas with 1.2 meter apart because to implement MIMO, multi-input, multi-output environment. So we have installed many LTE-M router on many vessels, such as government vessels and the passenger and car ferry, and small number of fishing boats. So those vessels are navigating from Korean water as based on their navigating schedule. This is a car ferry and passenger route in Korean coastal water. This slide shows the change of the onboard measurement from April to now, to August. As you know, because of the corona pandemic, we cannot start the field measurement until March. So we just started onboard measurement from April. Yes, this is a whole surface area overview in view of the field test measurement. The green, strong green is a minimum requirement of main area, and light green, yellow is the minimum requirement of sub area. So here is the main area. So in the main area, I can see that several dots of yellow colors. So we have to optimize these points. Okay, we will optimize this maybe in 1 month. Okay, and here is sub area. There are some red colors. So we have to optimize at here and here, over here. Okay. So we can see that the LTE-Maritime service quality, not finer, and we will optimize more in 2 months. Let me show you some more cases about the service quality. This is one example of field test measurement. There are some case. So we can get the downlink is 23 Mbps. Uplink is 18 Mbps. In a condition of RSRP is minus 98 dBm. SINR, it's a kind of a signal strength to the noise, is 16. In that case, this position here is far from 59 kilometers from the station. Okay, in this slide, I want to show you about the handover in LTE-Maritime. If you walk or if you ride some car in the road when you are calling, your LTE station must be changed. So that case is same in the ocean. So please see this video clip. Okay, from here, when a ship is navigating, and then you can see that the change of stations automatically. User do not interfere with the change. This is a LTM automatic procedure. Yeah. So LTE-M router can send some quality parameter to the station, and LTE core, we call that EPC. LTE core center decide which station is good and then change automatically. Yeah, that's a video clip. Yeah, in the last case of what I want to show you is the 100 kilometer from the stations. So when a ship is navigating from Gangneung, Mukho to Ulum Island, at this point, LTE-M router acquire the signal from the station far from 100 kilometers far from the ship. So this result showed the 100 kilometer signal reception was possible. Yes, this is my conclusion. Yeah, LTE Maritime is 4G, just LTE advanced technology. At this time, LTE Maritime is not a private communication. It's a public communication of Korean government to provide e-navigation services. But I think it can be some beginning point for the one-off communication infrastructure for e-navigation era and maritime industry revolutions. So we are considering the use case in Korea, primarily Korean e-navigation services. You can see the more detailed services contents on this link. And the vessel management system for safety, because LTE-M can send the position report in every seconds. So e-navigation service can predict the collision prior to the accident. And the Korean government is considering the use of LTE Maritime for navigational aids management and Coast Guard activities and Navy activities. I cannot tell you very detailed, but Navy is considering as well. Remote sensing for ocean environment and weather. And some local government is considering to use the maritime drone, air and sea simultaneously, to control and monitoring the system. So I think digital maritime communication is more safe and secure and efficient and capable, should be. So Korea are showing that the LTE Maritime can be implemented by 3GPP 4G LTE technology. So if your country wants to implement new digital maritime communication for e-navigation or for any kinds of administration or any kinds of public or private services for your coastal waters, I think you can use the LTE technology. In Korea my team we are going to develop the appropriate communication technology for digital maritime communication to support e-navigation and the maritime first industry revolutions and the maritime autonomous service ships, always commented by the IMO, continuously considering 5G technology and LoRaWAN, some more advanced technology, communication technology. So I think this terminology, appropriate communication technology, is required by many maritime peoples, I think. Okay, that's all. This is the end of my presentation. Thanks for your attention.
Dr. Shim, that's fascinating, and I think all of us can see the potential for other places other than Korea. I do have a number of questions. Just before I start asking them, Mr. Sheridan, I think you'd probably better ask that question yourself. It's a little long for me to put in, but we have one from Girish Kumar, who says, overall great information and good to know that innovation is coming up in the future. it would be very useful in the case of remote auditing. And we'd like to know the promised Mbps on board ship. I think you've given the MMPS in your presentation, have you? Megabytes per second. Megabytes per second. Mbps, the megabytes per second. I think I have that right. And you gave that in your presentation already, haven't you? Yes. And we have one from Jai Myung, which says, I have a technical question. You mentioned the upload and download speeds. Which LTE UE, Uniform Echo category, does LTE belong to?
Could you speak again? I will share my presentation.
Yes. Which LTE UE category does LTE Maritime belong to?
You mean the category 4 or 6?
Jai Myung, can you please, I will. Jai Myung, can you ask that question yourself, please? No, we haven't. I have some others of my own. They're more simple sailor ones. You say automated reporting. Now we already have AIS, which reports. Would this use the AIS, or would the VTS be tracking the vessel separately in your automated reporting?
Actually, as you mentioned before, the Korean government also have gathering information from the AIS and VTS.
Right.
And then Korea government will implement the LTE-Maritime position report. They will mix up the position from the AIS and LTE-Maritime. And then they make some fusion position of each vessels.
Right.
They
So
then calculate about the foreign navigation services.
So the ship is reporting its position probably from GPS, but does LTE also triangulate the position to determine the position of the ship not using GPS?
No, not really. The LTE-Maritime use the GPS. I show you the user onboard equipment of LTE-Maritime. So GPS module is included in this equipment. So LTE-Maritime use the GPS position.
Very well. So moving on with that, you mentioned collision warnings. How is that established? Is this ship-to-ship collision or ship-to-shore collision that we're talking, and how is that resolved? Who does that? How is it done?
Yeah, the collision for the ship-to-ship and ship-to-shore, all of them was implemented by our project team. So in the case of ship-to-ship, the server in the center can operate 4,000 ships simultaneously.
Mm.
Yeah, because it is possible, because the LTE-Maritime Router send the ship's position in every second. Yeah, so I think maybe in next year, January, I don't know, February, this service will be published in public in Korean coastal waters.
Very well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. LTE Maritime could also track ships that do not have AIS. Is that true?
Yes, LTE Maritime. We can track. We can track the all ships, NIS only, and LTE Maritime Router only, and the ship with both of them. We can track all the cases.
Right, so that includes small vessels that do not have AIS.
Yeah, but the
Very
LTE Maritime Router can install the small ships around 2 or 3 tons, very small fishing vessels.
So LTE gives small vessels visibility, vessels which might not otherwise be visible. Is that correct?
Right, right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The question from Jai Myung once again is LTE UE category, and the UE stands for user equipment category. LTE user equipment category, what does LTE Maritime belong to? Which user equipment category does LTE Maritime belong to?
Yeah, our system, our LTE Maritime Router currently belong to category 4. So for your information, our LTE Maritime system just use 10 megahertz bandwidth for download and upload respectively. So we can get the maximum speed of 75 megabps in downlink and 25 megabps in uplink, in theory. So I read some question in chatting window. There, somebody asked me about the average speed. Yeah, exactly say I cannot calculate the generally the average speed, because we measured many places. So, but I can say that we can get the speed over 20 or 30 megabps when we are navigating the distance 30 or 40 kilometers from the station. In a case of over 80 kilometers, we can get the 3 or 6 or 7 megabps generally by our experiment.
Very good, thank you. Now, there's the question from Keith Sheridan there, quite a long question. He's addressed it to everyone. Are you able to see that question? And we have just 2 minutes, I regret, in order to take this one final question before we're out of time. Mr. Keith Sheridan's question to you. Can you see that, Dr. Shim?
Yes, Dr. Shim, this is Keith. Sorry, this is Keith Sheridan's. So 2 questions, if I may. Is this a private LTE network that you're operating here, or is it a dedicated LTE network? And the second question is, are you measuring LTE parameters such as SINR, S-I-N-R?
Yeah.
And I see that you are. In a subsequent slide, you explained that you were.
Yes, first answer is LTE Maritime is public network, not private network. The public means this LTE Maritime will be operated by the government. Okay, so in this is a Korean case. Okay, your country can use the LTE frequency maybe in public or maybe by the private company, commercial company. But LTE-Maritime is a public company, a public network operated by the government. And then I explained about the sending a report in every seconds. At that time, the main parameters sent it are RSRP, SINR, RSSI, something like that.
Yes, understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We just have one more here because I do think it's relevant, and that is from Gillian to say, to access 4G, I need to have a service provider agreement. What would be the requirement to access 4G maritime? Say you were a foreign vessel, even not a local vessel.
Yes, I think this. I have explained about the type of LTE-Maritime. LTE-Maritime is public network by the government administration. So if you want to use the LTE-Maritime, I think you can use that only with the permission of Korean government. But in the LTE-Maritime case, the purpose of the use of LTE-Maritime should be public, not private.
Right.
Yeah, I think simple situation, I think.
Very well. Okay, I'll hand back to Gillian now for a Menti quiz just to finish up with that. Dr. Shim, thank you very much. We'll acknowledge you in just a moment. We'll just have the quiz while that's all fresh.
Thank you, and thank you for understanding my poor English. Thank you.
Your English is wonderful and very clear to understand. Thank you so much, Dr. Shim. Now, can you see my screen, everybody?
Yes.
We can see your desktop, Gillian.
Oh, okay. I will that share then. Let me go to the right screen share. Let's see, go to my share screen. There we go. We will share that screen. Can you see Menti now?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. So go back to your devices, go back to your menti.com. And if it's forgotten your code, it probably hasn't, but put in the code again and answer the statements. So the statements are there. How much do you agree with them? Do you strongly agree? Do you sort of agree? Or do you strongly disagree? Will digitization revolutionize the maritime industry? Is LTE-Maritime and other 3GP technologies, should they be implemented globally? And is technology developing just too fast for us all to keep up? So I'm just getting my phone out now to do it too. So go to your menti.com. I am on my way there myself. Next question. Okay. Okay. Oh, there we go. I'm going to leave it just for a few more seconds just so you make sure that you have a chance to get to your Menti. Read through those phrases and see what you think. Well, so far, Dr. Shim, it looks like LTE and 3GP technologies probably should be implemented globally. And it's very impressive that we're getting 100 kilometers or 54 nautical miles with that bandwidth, which sometimes at home in Australia, in Canberra, I'd be happy to have myself. In fact, to run this Zoom, I'm on my 4G network on my phone, shared to my computer, because the NBN drops out much too often for my liking to be stable for Zoom. Okay, we got one more coming in. Let's leave it just for one more minute. Oh, not even a whole minute. I'm just looking at the time. We're running out of time. So I better close it out there. But I think it's pretty straightforward. Digitalization, I have to be careful how I say that. Digitalization will revolutionize the maritime industry. We should be looking to 3GP technologies. And of course, we have that other presentation. If you want to learn more about the basics of what 3GPP is, we had that presentation previously. It's on the YouTube channel. And technology is developing too fast for the industry. So that's very interesting. I'm going to stop my share now and pass back to the chairman. And thank you all for your participation.
Screen dot. There we go, and back to there. Dr. Shim, thank you very much indeed for being our presenter today. It's been absolutely marvelous and fascinating, and it's widened our perspective completely. So thank you once again for being that presenter and giving us an expert's view of the future, hopefully a future that's coming to someone near us in the not too distant future. For all of you who have participated, thank you very much. There will be the next presentation. If you can see my screen, Gillian, kindly confirm.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yes.
Fine. Thank you.
So our next, which is number 6 in the series, will be on the 29th of September, which is a Tuesday. And Gillian will be one of the presenters along with Waldo, and it will be looking at digital data, trend analysis, and density plots. So just consider how it would be if you had AIS and analyzing all those AIS targets and the information that they can give you, and then what trend analysis you could draw from that. So that will be the next one of our presentation. This webinar series has been streamed live, but it'll also be available on YouTube after this. And if you want to know more about the NI, there's the address from our secretary, Patrick, who is on this webinar here as well. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a great pleasure to be participating in this event. So, Gillian, any final words?
Just if everyone could turn their cameras on, you stop sharing your screen and we can get a group photo perhaps. I'm going